You're listening to 91.7 KVRX Austin, and I'm your host, Reno, and these are my regions. Today on Renos Regions, we do the finale. The series is coming to an end, but we're not going out quietly. As with tradition in Renos Regions, the final show of every season, we take an in-depth dive into KVRX, learning about the new DJs, past DJs, and all the history. Because this is the last time we'll ever be doing this, I wanted to take you on a tour of one of my favorite parts of KVRX, and that is the Hall of Fame. It's an extensive and diverse group of loving people who have believed in me since day one, taught me many life lessons, and watched me grow. My life would not have been the same without these people who I miss dearly. This finale is just a small portion of the Hall of Fame, as it would take years to get everyone. I love all of them. I know this is my last show ever, but I wanted to get on with the show as there are so many incredible stories and people to cover. You'll hear from me later on.
Reno, my friend, I can't believe it is finally time for your final show. You've accomplished a lot in all of your 10 plus years at the University of Texas, and I'm happy for you, and it's an exciting show. Thank you for thinking of me to answer these questions, and here are my answers. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I moved here for a job when I graduated college, a city I've never been to before, and I love the city. I love Columbus, Ohio, and I'm happy that I'm here. What music am I listening to? Travis Scott. I really picked up my passion for, that type of rap. And I'm not sure why. I never was into it, but I've gotten more into it. Something exciting happening in my world. Started to play the guitar a little bit. So I've been going to the gym every morning, and I just trying to become a more well-rounded person. How can I make today the most productive day possible? I think that's a great question to always be asking yourself. The more you ask yourself questions like that, the more success that I believe you'll find. Since you're no longer in the booth, where do I get the same feeling of freedom and catharsis? That's a great question. Rush Run Parkland in Columbus, Ohio, a beautiful nature place I go to explore and to relax and to, be in nature. I love it. Favorite memories from KVRX: rapping random lists of items on mediums with my great co-host Reno. Advice for new DJs to have fun, and how can people keep up with me? I'm always a phone call away. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Morgan Laird, and back in the day, I was DJ Richard Nixon, and my show was called Wiretappers. I did KVRX from my sophomore year of college all the way to graduation in December 2018, and now I live in Seattle because my partner got a job here. I've been listening to similar music since I've left KVRX. I love a lot of different genres, so I'm kind of all over the place, like everything from 60s folk and country, Bobby Gentry to Joanna Newsom. I love Jessica Hoop, Bill Callahan, Chance the Rapper, Caroline Polachek, Camille. I've been listening to a lot more like Frozen and Kids Bop these days because I teach preschoolers. So that's one thing that's changed a lot. It's not necessarily my favorite. Anything exciting happening in your world? I now teach preschool during the pandemic, which has been crazy, but fairly rewarding, ups and downs, but they're a really great group. And I just applied for my master's in social work and child psychology with the hope of becoming a therapist. So I'm looking forward to that. And I've also been doing a lot of really exciting work with a nonprofit called I Support the Girls, which provides essential items like bras and tampons to homeless women. And they have drives all over the world. There's especially a lot here in the U.S., if that's where you're located. I would definitely look into I Support the Girls if you're into that kind of thing or have any extra products that you want to donate. It's a good one to get involved with. What's a question that's been occupying your mind for a while? For me, it's when will I go to a party again? I need to get on my dancing shoes and socialize, especially having just moved to a new city where, given the conditions, it's not the easiest to make friends. And Seattle has allegedly a Seattle freeze where it's apparently difficult to make friends even in normal times. So we'll see how that looks going forward. I'm definitely hoping to find a group of friends here. Since you are no longer in the booth, where do you get that same feeling of freedom and catharsis? Two things: mini trampoline and virtual reality. Just got a mini trampoline, just got the Oculus VR, and it's pretty much the most incredible thing ever. I almost feel a little bit provincial even being so amazed by it. I had never done VR before, and it's really magnificent. And my mini trampoline is even better. I bounce while listening to music. I bounce while watching Real Housewives and nature documentaries. It's just a good time all around. Favorite memories and or stories from KVRX. There are so many, and we would be here for a long time if I were to probably try to tell a story, so I'll keep it short and sweet. At the risk of being overly sentimental, it was really just such a special experience, and every moment was so great. I appreciated it a lot then, even though I was young and didn't appreciate things enough, but even looking back on it, I didn't appreciate it as much as I should. So that kind of jumps to a later question, which was advice for new DJs. That's mine, is just be earnest, make friends, and appreciate the really unique community that is college radio and cherish it. So I'll jump back to the one I skipped. Best social you went to, whose house was it? For me, it was definitely the KVRX prom. I was pretty excited to be there. I remember really clearly that I didn't drink at all that night and just tried to be really present and socialize with a lot of new people, because I met a lot of people in KVRX, but that night it felt like there were more people than just at the rotations and things at the station. So I got to interact with a lot of DJs that I hadn't talked to before, which was great, even though I don't keep up with everyone as much as I'd like. Love you all. You're hearing my thoughts. What are some historic moments? During the pledge drive, someone asked me for a lock of my hair. I declined, but was flattered, not scared somehow. Where can people keep up with you? I think, if I'm not mistaken, my Instagram handle, let me double check here, is Morgan Lee Laird 96. So you can keep up with me there, although you will have to request to follow me. So, TBD.
Hello, my name is Laren Spear. I'm DJ Transition State. I basically just picked up that name last semester or so. For most of my KVRX career, I had a show called Energy Lounge, and then after that, The Residency. I used to play mostly deep house, but now I play more techno. That's what more of my DJ style is nowadays. That's most of the music I listen to. It's all in the electronic genre. There aren't that many people at KVRX who are into electronic music, so, I always had that sort of leg up over everybody else. I live in Austin, Texas, of course. I love it here. Who knows if I'll end up leaving. Maybe I'll get priced out by all the people moving in for Tesla and Oracle and all that. Exciting things for me. Last week I played basically my first paying DJ gig at the Coconut Club. I played a drag show. I played a whole bunch of cheesy house and disco. It was so much fun. Highly recommended by me. A question that's been occupying my mind for a very long time is, I really wonder why people like fennel. I hate it. It's my kryptonite. Like, seriously, every time I taste it in something, it causes a visceral reaction in my stomach and, on my palate. So I just don't understand why people like it. I usually get my feelings of freedom and catharsis from living vicariously on Twitter and saying things that I find funny but no one else really finds funny, or if they don't find it funny, they more or less find it concerning. That's the kind of edge I like to walk. My favorite memory from KVRX is the time when Mindy just decided to use some extra money the station had, I think from selling ACL wristbands, and used it to buy everybody Dawn. That will probably never happen again, and it's something that I'll remember for a very long time. The best social I went to was, I think it was Summer's house at Halloween a couple years ago. I was dressed up in a hazmat suit. I fell asleep on the couch while listening to Mr. Brightside by The Killers, and when I woke up, everyone was gone. So I think it's a 10 out of 10 party. My sleeper tip for new DJs is that you can pitch up your songs about 3% and nobody will notice, except it gives your songs more energy and you can fit more in an hour. Not that many people know about this trick, but it's a classic. If people want to keep up with my Twitter ramblings, my Twitter is @happens_to you. And then my music, my more professional Instagram is @transitionstatemusic.
Hey, I'm DJ Rio from San Diego, California. After I graduated and left KVRX, I eventually got a place back here in Pacific Beach, and I work down the street from my parents' place. Music I'm listening to now, I have my Police Got Me Questioning playlist, featuring Black Eyed Peas, Where's the Love, and Tupac, some others, after the events of last year. I'm also listening to some surfy stuff like Growlers, The Frights, and The Sands out of San Diego. I'm also always on Rancid and The Clash. KVRX really taught me how to dive deep and explore a lot of underdiscovered music that I wouldn't have ever found otherwise, and I still use those skills all the time. I just got good news from a graduate program to get a master's in hydrology and water security. The bad news is that it is OU. Hook 'em. A question I've been thinking about for a while is if it's possible, or I guess I should say how soon, we'll have portable and affordable desalination kit for residential use. Or I see a lot of people struggling here in Pacific Beach and a lot of homeless, and I know that access to clean water is important for anybody regardless of your situation. Since I love the booth, I get that catharsis and that freedom from Instagram and from playing music with friends in the rare COVID-safe setting. I really miss playing shows and going to see live music. One of the best socials, probably my favorite socials, it was a team effort of me and the guys at Helios. We would put on bands I would find in the new bin, or just any bands around Texas that were coming through that people wanted to see. South by showcases every year. Helios Co-op really killed it, as well as I would say the other co-ops probably had some of the best bands, Mac DeMarco back in the day at New Guild and so forth. Advice for new DJs. I would say to dive into anything head first if you're willing to try it, and just see what's on the other side, and most of the time you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Hey guys, my name is Nathalie, also known as DJ Nat on my old show, That's Cool. I live in Mansfield, Texas, near Dallas. I came back to my hometown post-grad, so I've been here, Miss Austin, a lot. I've been listening to a lot of Latin pop and Latin indie, like Maye, Kimberly Tell, Jesse Baez, Chill Chicos. I also been listening to a lot of Kali Uchis lately because she released that new album that's completely in Spanish, and I really enjoyed it. I think what I've been listening to when I had my show and now isn't too different. I think I've just been exploring more different genres in Spanish, when I used to only listen to reggaeton, which that was the only Spanish music I'd listen to. What I would play on my show was rap and electronic hip hop, and that was pretty much mostly what I listened to back then. So that's what's changed. New stuff for me, I've been a real estate agent since I've graduated, but big picture, I'm working on opening a small music venue in my hometown. So I'm just working on that, jumping through all the hoops. Hopefully within the next year or two, I'm able to open that, which would be super exciting. There's not a big question occupying my mind right now. I was trying to think of one, but I think so much is going on and everything's happening so quickly. I haven't really been getting a chance to pause or think, except, being in quarantine, which was kind of good for a little bit. I loved being in the booth because my show was at either 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. during the week. Basically, the campus and the HSM were completely empty and hollow and quiet, and the lights weren't even on. So it was just a very peaceful feeling to just be in the booth, alone, chilling and playing music. I don't think I get that feeling of catharsis and freedom anymore. Yeah, I'm trying to think, but there's a huge pond outside my house, and it gets very misty and quiet and kind of creepy in the morning, at 6 or 7 a.m. And sometimes I wander around there outside, if I feel like it. But that's the closest I could compare the feeling to. Honestly, I was never super connected to the whole KVRX scene. I think I was more involved in TSTV in Austin Underground, the show that I was a part of. And I was really connected to those people, so I don't think I don't even know why. I just would go to the station, do my show, and leave. And I never really got talked to that many people there. I kind of wish I did. I just didn't. But everyone that I did meet or talk to was super chill. I just don't have any significant KVRX memories or going to any of the socials or anything. Advice for new DJs, I would say just have fun with it. Enjoy it. Make the most of your time there. Seems like basic advice, but really that's all you can do, man. So if anyone actually wants to keep up with me, I use Instagram the most. My handle is @Nathalie_. _Gauna. And that's pretty much it. It's been real, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Hey there, my name's Jared Williams, and on KVRX, I was a DJ with two of my best friends. We did a show called Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. Right now, I'm living in Dallas, Texas with my family until I start work in about a week and a half here in Dallas, so I'll be living at home. The kind of music I listen to is mainly alternative, indie, and rap. And since I left KVRX, it's a little bit of everything, a little bit of mixture, a little bit of indie, a little bit of folk, all over the place, kind of. So yeah, just over about a week, I'm starting a new job in Dallas. Until then, I've been watching a lot of movies, trying to rewatch all of the Star Wars movies in order, and just watching a lot of NBA basketball. It's been really fun. A question that's been occupying my mind is, how do we keep up with our friends that we were only able to see and hang out with because of our proximity and similarities at college? It's like, everybody at the KVRX station, all of our friends in our classes, how do we keep up with them the same level we did when we were at college? Because, especially with the pandemic, I miss all of my peers and, all of my good friends from college. Since I'm no longer in the booth, I try and keep that same feelings by me and my two co-hosts. We've brought our show to Zoom and we're posting it on YouTube and Spotify. So that just keeps the same feelings. I know it's not in the booth, so it's not the same, but it's almost the same. Some of my favorite memories are my friends bringing in a cake to our final show in the booth, and they surprised us at the end of the show with a cookie cake saying congratulations. That was really awesome. The best social I went to was always the socials at the station after a show, since we did it Fridays and it ended at 6, and Reno and Stark were always there and the Love Doctors were always there. It was always a good time. Some advice for new DJs was just not to be too nervous and to find your little niche with your show. There's always a little niche that you can find and explore, and somebody will always be there and would love it also. You can keep up with me at Dudes Football. You can ask us fantasy football questions there. Me and my co-host Michael Smith and Noah, also, we're always checking it. Always love to chat with everybody. So please follow us there. Appreciate it. Mike.
What up, Reno? This is Noah here, host of 3-time show, Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. One of the greatest KVRX shows, snubbed multiple times for awards. But hey, we're past that. Anyways, I live in Austin still. What brought me to Austin is the job that I have, even though I'm working remote after graduation. Still living here with some friends, having a great time. It looks like I'm going to be here for a few more years, at least, considering some recent developments with work. I'm listening to not much music. I'm listening to, what's that song? FKJ, and I'm listening to a ton of lo-fi hip-hop beats to study relax to when I'm doing kind of a more administrative work with work. I'm doing a ton of that, but honestly haven't had a lot of time to get into new music. Some more stuff in the background instead of, banging my head. Has that changed since I left KVRX? Yeah, I think the main thing, it's not my taste much, it's more how much time I have and, what context I'm listening to music. I used to listen to a lot of music walking in places and being with friends and not as much context for it. It's interesting how the context of the music changes what we listen to, on top of obviously our taste. Anything exciting happening in your world? So I'm working at a startup accelerator. I basically recruit startups to join, and I find startups that I think would be a good fit for the program. I also have recently going to be joining officially a CBD coffee company called Ott Coffee, based out of Austin. Go to ottcoffee.com, check it out, follow us on socials and whatnot. That's going to be a pretty cool new book or show. Queen's Gambit, excellent. Spicy spaghetti and meatballs is what I've been kind of do like one every 2 weeks, and I've been getting pretty good at it. Question's been occupying my mind for a while. Is working 12-hour days worth it? I'm enjoying it so far. Working full-time and part-time, we'll see. Since you're no longer in the booth, where do you get the same feelings of freedom and catharsis? Maybe when I'm working and I'm talking to interesting people, I get a feeling of accomplishment-ness. That kind of comedic feeling. I got some of that doing my show in a remote setting on Zoom this year. Honestly, it's not like being in the booth when you really feel like you're in the real media space. Our last episode we did junior year, one of my good friends, Brandon, brought me a cookie cake and said, "Congrats, guys being dudes." And we had a nice little moment in the studio. I think it's our cover photo on the Twitter page at Dudes Football. And so that was really beautiful. And, I was totally surprised. And just to get some recognition and just some love from a friend after putting in so much work into something that, doesn't always have direct returns is really nice. I don't think I ever went to a social with KVRX. It's probably part of the reason why earlier on when I mentioned that I was snubbed on awards. Could have been definitely more involved in the KVRX scene. Definitely still love KVRX and the people I was able to meet through it. Some historic moments. Well, you got World War II is a big one. Pearl Harbor. Maybe like Jesus on the cross this past week when this Capitol was stormed. Things like that are some historic moments. Advice for new DJs. Just go all in. You're in college. You have a cool opportunity to be on a real radio station and just, invest in places. My life motto is go all out in everything that's fun and seems valuable and don't have. So I guess that'd be my advice. Put some preparation in the beginning and, have a more outlined show for yourself. And then as you get more and more accustomed to everything and the technicalities and stuff and how to kind of operate the show, your show, whatever it may be. I personally did a talk show, so obviously a lot more planning than, maybe a set list or whatnot, that as you go through it, you get better and better. If you want to keep up with the show, you can follow us on Twitter at Dudes Football. We're also available on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. We also did, since we did it via Zoom, we have a YouTube channel, Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. Fantasy football season is over now. Congratulations on Reno for having a hell of a season. He made us to the semifinals in the league I am with him. But he's a goofy dude. He's kind of a, not really the traditional, football type. But I don't think I've been in a league with him where he hasn't outperformed me. So who am I to say anything? That guy is a fantasy football legend. If you want to keep up with me personally, I'm not really sure why you want to do that. I'm just kidding. I guess you can follow me on my social medias, Noah Obstfeld. Just want to say, Reno, wow, what a KVRX legend. What a man. You're going to have an incredible legacy and appreciate you involving me, along the way a little bit. We're kind of my first KVRX friend. I remember meeting you in the booth and really love you, man. And I can't wait to keep hanging out with you in Austin and can't wait to see what you do afterwards as well. I know it's going to be interesting. I know it's going to be original. And I know I'm going to want to be a part of it too and see what's going on. Love you, man. Congratulations on an incredible KVRX career. Maybe the KVRX GOAT. Yeah. Have a good one, buddy. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Amy, and I used to go by DJ Soft Serve. I had one show on KVRX with my friend Shania called For the Archives. I currently live in Austin, and I've been here the past 3.5 years for college. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of random mixes and early 2000s artists, but my taste has definitely grown and shifted since KVRX. I listen to a lot more house and hip-hop now compared to when I was a freshman. I'm graduating this spring, so I'm excited to start a new chapter. I recently got into making polymer clay earrings. I've been thinking about what my next step will be post-grad. A moment where I feel free is when I'm driving in my car at night when the roads are empty. One of my favorite memories from KVRX was being trained in the booth before having our own first show. I love discovering new artists through the new bin. I tell new DJs to have fun and listen to as many genres as possible that will expand your taste. This is really the time in your life to explore yourself and build community.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Naomi, also known as DJ Hard Eyes. I hosted a freeform show at KVRX called The Dumpster Dive from October 2016 to March 2020. I'm currently still living in Austin following my graduation in May, mostly due to the pandemic. But as of late, I've been listening to more female rap artists, much like Megan Thee Stallion and Rico Nasty, which is definitely very different from what I used to play on my show, but it's been a really nice, refreshing change from all the indie garage rock I used to play on the air. In my post-grad life, I've had plenty of time to rediscover my love for reading, and I got to read 43 books in 2020. Of those, my favorites would have to be Marina Abramovich's memoir and Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Now, a question that's been rattling around in my brain recently is, what will life be like after the pandemic is over? Since I'm no longer in the booth, I have found ways to talk about my music preferences through social media like Twitter and Instagram, but neither of them could ever really replace the KVRX booth in my heart, to be honest. My favorite memory of KVRX definitely has to be KVRX Fest, as I got to listen to some super cool artists play with some of the most incredible people I met through the station. My second favorite memory would have to be New Year's 2018 at our then station manager Gab's house. Now, even though I ended my night puking my guts out behind a dumpster, I had a lot of fun dancing with my friends that night. If I were to give a younger DJ some advice, I would say don't let your anxiety stop you from doing anything. I personally had a really tough time dealing with my social anxiety as a DJ, that I actually missed out on a lot of things that I wish I hadn't. Now, if you're interested in keeping up with me, you can follow me on my Instagram at Cynthia x Naomi, Naomi.jpg.